We knew it was coming. The sheriff told us he would release it, a manifesto loaded with hate. And so tonight, we start with this. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Love can do that. Those words by Martin Luther King Jr. in 1963.
61 years later, we're shining a light on those words because hate does not have a place in our community. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has released a manifesto filled with hate from the man behind the racially motivated mass shooting at the Dollar General store last summer.
That shooting taking the lives of 3 members of our community. Gerald Gallion, a loving dad of a 4-year-old girl.
Angela Carr, a caring mother of 3 and grandmother of 16.
And A.J. Laguerre Jr., just 19, graduating high school a year earlier.
Those faces are one of the reasons why we have decided not to publish a single word from the shooter's manifesto on our platforms, on air or online.
We want you to know that our decision comes from a lot of discussion today in our newsroom. We wanted to do the right thing, and we know the families are still hurting and the community is still healing.
So our commitment to you is to remain focused on the victims and meaningful change. We want to avoid content that aims to divide our community. First Coast News on your side starts right now.
And we are tonight sharing the messages from people close to the families of the victims, as well as community leaders, about the pain caused by the shooting and the divisiveness written in the manifesto.
Our Rich Donnelly is on your side tonight with that reaction. And Rich, let's talk a little bit about what they have to say about this.
They say that the release of the manifesto is another pain that the victims' families and the communities feel. They also hope it's a pain that no other family ever has to experience.
This is the man that destroyed their family.
Jacksonville attorney John Phillips represents the family of Angela Carr. While he will use the manifesto as part of his wrongful death lawsuit, he urges his clients and the community not to read it.
I've read it all. It's hard to read. The N-word is probably written hundreds of times. He advocates for the assassination of people by race, period.
In the days, weeks, and months after the shooting, memorials to the 3 victims were placed outside of the Dollar General. But the pain also remains.
It hurts our whole community. It hurts our city in general.
Reverend Willie McLaurin of St. Andrew AME Church in Jacks Beach says rhetoric described in the manifesto is harmful and ignorant.
Hatred comes from fear. Fear of me not knowing a person's culture.
But instead of continuing that divisiveness, McLaurin hopes events like this can bring different sides of our community together.
It's amazing how we can band together when devastation or disasters come, but why can't we do that every day? Joining forces so that we can walk hand in hand together, making our communities and our neighborhoods safe.
Phillips plans to file his lawsuit next month, but hopes this will lead law enforcement and lawmakers to take actions that will prevent this from happening again.
We've got to investigate how these racists, how these deviants empower each other and communicate, and how they obtain firearms and who knew.
When the manifesto was released by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Sheriff T.K. Waters released a statement saying that the investigation into the Dollar General shooting is complete and that releasing the manifesto poses no hindrance to the investigation. The shooter killed himself at the scene and no additional arrests have been made. Reporting Rich Donnelly, First Coast News, on your side.
Rich, thank you. So let's talk some more about the manifesto released today. Jeannie Blaylock spoke with an expert, and she joins us in the newsroom tonight with more on her conversation. Jeannie.
With the retired FBI special agent in charge, Rick Schwein, he spent 26 years tracking terrorism and working active shooter scenes. He's read the manifesto, and right away he focused on the shooter as a lone wolf.
With regard to the individual actor, the lone wolf, much more difficult target to get your arms around, and an extreme challenge for law enforcement because these people hide in the shadows. They only really become known to you oftentimes when they commit that act of violence.
Asked Schwein, do you agree with the sheriff's decision to release the manifesto? Schwein says he understands why he did, to be transparent and to follow public disclosure, but he says it does run the risk of giving the shooter what he wanted. And that raises this question.
But if there's already so much fuel for the fire, fuel for the madmen out there, what difference does this one manifesto add to a big pile of hate already out there on the internet?
Well, I think, that's a rhetorical question, right? There is a lot of stuff out there, but now you're giving a specific person a voice. You're giving him exactly what he committed that act of violence in order to achieve. So take that off the table.
So Schwein says, let's keep taking that off the table. And he says, no matter your opinion, his thoughts go out to the victims of families tonight. First Coast News on your side. Jeannie.